It's not a good thing when you start all fuzzy. Oh wait, I look better now. I mean, relatively speaking.
I want you to feel confident in yourself. You know.
Okay.
You know, as long as you have a healthy
I didn't know we were
self-image.
setting expectations that high
Well,
tonight.
well, okay. Maybe just, you know, as long as you don't, I don't know, cry, then we're good.
Oh, I probably won't cry.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of crying, really. No.
Yeah?
Yeah. I get angry when like I hurt myself. I'll get angry. Yeah, anger and throwing things is usually the appropriate reaction. I'm sure. Like when you stub your toe, you're like, oh, what can I throw? What do I have to destroy?
Yeah. Interesting definition of the word appropriate. What about what about movies? Do movies make you cry? Do they?
Oh yeah, that's different. Yeah, like that's it's. I belong to that I don't know, closeted part of the gene pool that it's embarrassing. It's shameful how easily I will tear up watching a movie. But it's not just movies. I'll do it.
Oh yeah, me too.
Dude, it's like sometimes I'm either listening to someone do this or I'm delivering like a compliment of some sort. Like I'm really proud of something somebody's done with work, for example. Mm-hmm. And I can tell, like I'm getting glossy-eyed.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that's about.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
It's genuinely not that big of a deal. I don't know, man.
I'm the same way. I tell you, one of the things that really gets me is there are moments in movies where, you know, it's pretty obvious that it's supposed to be an emotional moment, that if you're even slightly prone to being moved by a movie, then this will do it. But there are times when I don't think that was the intent, and yet it still does it. Like any time the crowd goes wild, for whatever reason, I get like swept up into that moment, you know, in a movie,
in
like
fictional, not in like you're watching a sporting event and the crowd goes wild.
Well, maybe that too, but I mean, it definitely in a movie situation. I'm just not in it much in real life. And no, I don't guess it is, because it's much more of if the crowd is going wild, then I am either also going wild for whatever just happened.
Yeah.
And whatever just happened is probably mundane, like my team scored a touch ball. But
I knew you were going to say something like that.
But and that's only like the teams that I actually care about personally, like you know, Mississippi State. I've got 2 degrees from there. I'm a Mississippi State alum, so I'm all for the Bulldogs, and I've just been a Dallas Cowboys fan forever. And they have Dak Prescott, who used to play for Mississippi State, as their starting quarterback. So there's another connection there. And I love Manchester United. I know our UK folks probably have very strong opinions about that. And and we may have lost some listeners, but but that's another team that I'm for. I don't know enough about Orlando City. I should know more about them.
You mean like how to get there?
Well, no, like the soccer team.
Oh. Is that their name, Orlando City?
Orlando City SC, yeah.
Are you sure
club.
about that?
I am dead sure about that. I mean, they're purple and they have a lion. I know that much about them. Apparently, I'm doing better than you. But
I have no idea. Is it soccer?
It is soccer.
No.
This is why you want to have a soccer team. When you try to field a soccer team and it's golf, that's no good. That never works out well.
I got into F1 recently, as you know, and
I do know.
I feel like that's it. I'm good.
You've got all your sports now?
Well, it's kind of, all the sports, all the sport. Because you know how I am with names.
Yes.
And well,
the nice Formula One.
The nice thing on F1 is it's 20 names. People. It's 20 people, though. It's 20. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. And they'll move about. Like they'll move about teams, and some they'll be sent down to like the junior league equivalent, and sent like F2 or whatever. And then then
there
some
an
of the
F2?
teams. Oh yeah, and then F3 too. And then there's the go karting. It's amazing. Yes.
I always thought Formula One, being the word formula, I thought that was the type of fuel those cars used. Was the Formula One fuel, and that's why they were Formula One racing. I didn't realize it was a league thing.
I'm not okay. So I'm not sure about the origin of formula, but
Yeah, because the formula was what was giving
the
me
Brits
that
were behind
impression.
it, so you can imagine there's a story
Oh, I'm sure.
of some sort.
And I think we just escaped there being an extra U in formula.
Right. But it's 20 people, and then of course that you need to know. I mean, I don't I say you need to know. I don't really know them. The team manager people, which is not what they're called. They're like directors. I'm still learning this stuff. Okay.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I've decided like I need a cheat sheet or a flow chart or something because I am so bad with names that I will still mess things up. I will still forget like somebody who's super. I'm not going to embarrass myself here by giving you examples, but but it's embarrassing sometimes that I have forgotten the person whose name I've seen 60 times in a 3-day period. But I'll get there, man. I'll get there. I'm confident.
Cool.
I'm excited about this. I like the fact that it's brief. It's early. Mm-hmm. I don't like early things, as you know, but it's like 9 a.m. early, so that's not crazy early, Yeah. And I don't have to, I can't even go to the game. I can't go.
True. Well,
I can, but you have to do a lot of planning and travel to do that, right? So there's not even that kind of pressure, and it's still, I think, in terms of its popularity in the States, its popularity is inchoate enough that I don't actually sound like a buffoon when I'm talking about it, because
always a plus.
Most people don't know anything about it.
Right. Yeah. And you could almost say anything, and they'd sort of be forced to take you at your word.
Like how you probably feel. I mean, you know a lot more than the average. You know a lot more than even the nerds. Like a Star Wars nerd would normally know about Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
But okay,
we were talking about a sport.
I think where we can align is on Disney stuff. Like within our non-Disney social circles, and especially among family members, we are the resident experts on things Disney, right?
Sure.
And so no one's going to call you on, oh, that's not what that's called. Or that's not when that place was open. That's not
you
that
have
character.
no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. But if you get into a different social circle, things change.
Yeah, true.
Right. So that's how I kind of feel about F1 right now. And I'm being mentored by Carlos, which is great, because he's helping. By mentor, I mean like just somebody I can like give my reactions to, and then he will either react positively or dismissive. I mean, he never is dismissive, but I kind of like, am I thinking about this right? I don't say that, but I'll throw it out there. This is my take on what just happened. I'll wait for it. And then it gets like a passing grade. And I'm like, okay, I'll move on. And then I move on to my son, Alex, who's also an F1 fan. He ended up preceded me. And he, like, I'll say similar things to him, and then if it tracks, if he's like, oh, in agreement, or even if he's in disagreement, but it's clear that I made a good point, I feel good about myself.
Oh, good.
Right? It's a very small circle, Marcus, that I feel comfortable having these kinds of conversations, and at some point I realized
small
that
pond.
Well, what I'm afraid of is the reality is that given the popularity of Drive to Survive, the Netflix,
we're going to have an influx of new new fans.
Well, that's what's happening. I mean, that's how I got into it. So it's great for the sport, but it means that I will quickly fall to the bottom. It's like when you get you get access to the beta Xbox game or something, and you're awesome. Yeah. But you're awesome against like 6 people, and then 6,000 people come in, and now
as the crazy ball of people show up, then
not really that good. Yeah, no. Anyway, so that I don't know about the Orlando team.
Okay, yeah. Well, the point being, not so much in real life, but on movies,
you cry. Like you cry at the crowd cheering.
I get, we'll call it, I get moved. I feel that kind of
welling up.
Yeah. As Shakespeare would say, my gorge rises at it. It's
not a good visual I had.
But even dumb things that are still crowd goes wild moments that are just supposed to be like, haha, cool. Like,
give me an example.
I'll give you an example. At the end, in the climactic game between the Indians and the Yankees in Major League, when he pulls in Ricky Vaughn,
the comedy Major League,
when he pulls in Ricky Vaughn to relieve dude, and they play Wild Thing, and the crowd goes crazy. That gets me. That gets me every time. I've seen that movie about 7 billion times. Every time that moment gets me. It's that just sudden burst of emotion or something that I just. It's weird.
I mean, I can't say that I understand that moment in particular, but I understand the concept. This definitely happens to me too, and commercials.
Man, when
and the stupid feel good things at the end of news programs.
Yeah.
Don't jerk me around like that. You give me like 27 minutes of bad news and then 3 minutes of like this puppy, and like,
come on, the puppy like built an orphanage or something. But
got skills, man.
Man, those stinking. I tell you what gets me, those dang Budweiser commercials that they put that have the horses, they always
horses and puppies.
Yeah,
stupid horses and puppies.
Yeah, they always have them as a Super Bowl commercial or something, and it's like there's the little horse that's trying to pull the cart, and then you see
always
him
just happy they don't
suddenly
step
pulling
on
the cart, and then the two big horses are actually pushing the cart. And it's like, those stinking things. I don't know why they get me, but they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Speaking of dogs, I was just about finished my walk the other day, and I get to it's like the final. If we were landing a plane, Marcus, I would be on
scared.
I've landed planes, not big planes, but small planes.
If you and I were landing a plane, you said if we were landing a plane.
If we were landing, we'd be okay. We'd be okay because I know how to do it. Ish.
I want to know what led up to that moment, personally, but.
Well, I'm sure it was a bet of some sort.
Probably was.
And a dare. Both a bet and a dare.
You won't do that.
I dare you to bet him to. So we would be, I'm trying to think, would this be approach or this be base? It would be like. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was going down the block, and there was this dog that was on the sidewalk or in the front yard of a house, sort of close to the sidewalk. And so I don't see a person around. It's like a little beagle thing, like an old, cute, stupid-looking beagle. And I'm going to go out into the street to avoid the dog because I don't see an owner around or anything. And I was thinking it was somebody who's like working in the yard, but the dog's loose. And those situations are usually fine, but they're sketchy in my head, and so I just avoid them because they don't end well in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
So I go out into the street, which is dangerous. But anyway, and then I go around, and then I kind of look back, and I realize the dog not only didn't bark at me, but then he kind of came to one of the cars and he was like sniffing the wheel of one of the cars. So now he's like almost in the street and I don't see a person. I'm like, this doesn't look good. Like, I don't know what's this dog maybe just like loose. Mm-hmm. So then I have to pause my walk on my Apple Watch and figure out, okay, what am I going to do? Because I can't screw up my stats, Marcus, for this kind of heroic baloney.
So
very important, Marcus. I mean, my day is just not right if these things don't happen the way they're supposed to happen. So I look at this dog and I'm like, hey, and he's looking at me and he starts barking at me, like a beagle, like, and apologies for anybody who's listening to this over speakers and their dog's freaking out. But he starts barking at me and he goes up to the front porch of this house. And I'm like, maybe he belongs there. I don't know. Because he kind of went back there. He's in like protective mode. He wasn't aggressive or anything. He was just kind of being protective. And, I can't go up to that house and ring the bell because he's on the porch barking at me.
Right.
So what do? I go to the next door neighbor.
Uh-huh.
And I hit the little ring bell. Do-do-ding. Do-do-ding. Whatever bell that is. God. Step 17 feet back from the door so I don't, intimidate anybody because I have a very intimidating presence.
Yeah, you scare the crap out of me.
It's actually a very stinky presence by that point in the walk. And this guy comes out, and I got a little side thing here. This guy comes out, and I'm like, oh, no. It's almost like the Craig moment. Like, oh, no, not that guy. Like,
the wrong guy. That's the wrong guy.
I don't know what to expect. I wasn't expecting him, and I don't know why I wasn't expecting him. But it was the salesy guy. It was the block the sidewalk salesy guy who likes to. He's a pacer. He's a pacer, Marcus. Okay. And so like when he was working from home during the pandemic, because he's not out as much anymore as he was then. He would be out in like outside in like just casual clothes, most of the time barefoot. He's like a stocky but larger guy, but he's like talking on the phone loudly, like we've talked about this, the salesman, and emotively and using his hands, and so he takes up all the space on the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. And so I have to cross into the street. This street knows me well. This part of the street knows me well because now the dog and the guy so he's the guy. So I usually avoid it, and I see him from a block away, and I'm thinking, oh no. Every time I see this guy, I'm like, no. Right? So he comes out and like, come on. In my head.
I was about to say. Please tell me you said that out loud.
In my head. And I said, I'm sorry about it. It's like, do you know whether this is your neighbor's dog? Because he's out, he's loose, he was kind of barking, but I don't know. Like he has a collar on, but I don't see any tags. And I said, do you know if your neighbor, like this your neighbor's dog? And he says to me, and he looks, and at this point he's very interested. I mean, he's this, so he gets props for this. He actually genuinely seemed like to care for the situation, sort of. So he says to me, he comes over and he looks at the dog and he's trying to call the dog. Like he's like, oh, come on. I'm like, why are you calling the dog? You don't have a leash. Dog, you don't know the dog. He's like, oh, he's wagging his tail, and I didn't feel like getting into the whole like dogs. Sometimes when they're aggressive, they wag their tail. And when they're scared, they can wag their tail. They wag their tails for lots of different reasons. Don't ever think that the dog wagging its tail means it's happy. A lot of time, most of the time it does, but you got to know the dog anyway. So, dog's not coming, and he says, well, I don't think my neighbor has a dog like that. They have a dog, but it's not. I don't think that's the dog. I don't think it's a dog like that. And I said, well, but the other neighbors, like, I know the other neighbors, they don't have a dog or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I said, well, I'm going to take a picture. I took a picture of the dog, and there's a Facebook group for the community, which is pretty ugly, by the way.
Yeah, they always are.
But it's like my only other step at this point is because I have no way of like doing anything, is to call the humane. I don't know, like look. If you call animal services, I'm pretty in Florida. Florida is Florida, folks. Like so, in my mind, you call animal services, it's dead. The dog is going to die. Yeah. I'm not calling animal services. So anyway, or animal control or whatever. So I get home and I posted on Facebook in a little question like this is, and I gave kind of the cross street, but not the address because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Because I know better, Marcus. I know better.
Good thinking.
And it's a good thing yeah. Because minutes later, this dude posts. I have to pull it up. I know how you hate me going to the phone, but I feel like I have to explain this properly to really like to do it justice. So I'm going to the Summerport group here, and I think how do you find a posting that you've made in a group? Is there an easy way to do that, or do you have to just scroll through like? Oh, here he is. Here's a little cute little guy. Here he is. Okay. So I post this picture. I say, this little cutie, like this little piggy, this little cutie was spotted near the corner of Bluebird Pond and Blue Major, alone and checking out parked cars. As it got close, she, because it looked like a she, but you never know these days, and I don't want to use the wrong pronoun, barked and went up to this door, continuing to bark in protective fashion, not aggressive. I checked with neighbor, and they said it wasn't their dog, nor did they think their neighbors had this type of dog. Any ideas? It has a collar, but no visible tags. First answer. Minutes later. Russ, I won't use his last name, even though I should.
Russ
says, another irresponsible owner letting their pet loose to get run over. Call the pound, as those people don't deserve to have a pet.
Jeez.
Then,
and here we
this
go.
woman named Bobby responds, Russ, wow, who, it's a word that rhymes with kissed, in your cereal. And Russ responds, irresponsible pet owners. And then Jenna weighs in, Bobby, he doesn't like animals. He's one of those people. And Bobby responds, sounds like it. And then Kelly says, Russ, sometimes dogs get out. Some are escape artists. Sometimes lawn care leaves the gate open. Things happen. Usually if you leave them alone, they will go home. Kelly is never going to work for me, by the way, because like anybody who thinks like, just leave it alone, that's fine. It just goes away. The problem goes away. Russ responds, if you chain them up, you don't need a gate to be left open. And to which Kelly responds, Russ, so abusing your dog is better. And Russ says, abusing? Saving your dog from getting squished in the road is abuse? Get real. And then Jenna says, Russ, can we chain you to a fence instead? And then Kelly responds, oh, Russ. And then Jeff says, I think the owner lives in a townhouse near the clubhouse. I'll try to drop a pin on the guest townhouse. Well, he puts this pin, a little map. Just spoiler alert, nowhere close to where this dog actually lives. Casey responds, Casey, the voice of reason here. Someone please acknowledge that this dog is okay and that Russ isn't a serial killer in the making or just a disgusting human being. Hard to tell. And then Brian responds, yes, or see below, yes on the dog, can't speak to Russ. And then I got a private message, which is basically the same message that's posted here by Brian saying, hi everyone, this is Bentley, my dog. We were out of town for the day and the dog sitter didn't understand the lock on the back gate, wasn't engaged. It's a bit tricky. Bentley's an old dog, completely harmless and safe and sound. And I don't know Russ at all, but I'm assuming he didn't get invited to many birthday parties as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So Bentley made it home safe.
Start getting all judgy, Russ. That's what happens.
I mean, I'm like, and I didn't wait. I was so tempted. I wanted, me, man. I wanted to weigh in, but I'm like, you know what? I did my job and I'm getting out of this.
Yeah.
And so he's fine. He actually, I think the sitter, I think the sitter was still there and maybe heard him barking and then let him back in to the house or something. But she didn't come out while I was there. And I was worried about him because then when I went back around, he wasn't there anymore. And I was like, oh, Christ, that's not good. So,
But and what was the dog's name? Buddy?
Bentley.
Bentley.
Yeah. Cute little dude.
That's a fun name.
Yeah, maybe I'll share a picture on our group page. We still have that group page?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good.
Come by sometime. It's fun.
I will. I'll do that. I'll bring Bentley along. But I'm not bringing Russ, that's for sure.
No. Russ we're good with Russ not joining. I want all the people to join except for Russ. No Russ.
It got ugly though. I mean, it gets so ugly.
People start talking. It's when you start telling other people how they should be living their lives and how, if they're not doing the thing exactly the way you do it, then they are abusing their dog and killing it and whatever. And it's just like, will you shut up? Right. Will you just please shut up?
We're just trying to find a home for this. Like you're adding to noise and oh my god. Speaking of noise, I'm pretty sure my family doesn't listen to this, other than Michelle. Hi,
Michelle.
Possibly my mother, but it's okay for this topic. It's okay. So, I'm in these text threads with people, and there's this one that I'm voluntarily in. It's with my two brothers and my father. And that can be a joy sometimes.
That didn't sound sarcastic at all.
I get a text. We all get a text. We all get a text with a picture. No, it was just a text. It was a text with a picture. Jason, what's the story? Was it a text? Was it a text with a picture? First he's gonna. Anyway, you know the movie. Okay, so he sends this picture. It's a screenshot. I mean, talk about lazy. It's a screenshot of like, what do you call the screen when you're on your phone, on your iPhone, and you kind of swipe right, and it goes to like that. What do they call that, control panel thing or something? Or
is it the one with the widgets or the one with the little
all the widgets,
the little buttons?
Yeah, all the widgets and stuff. Like it has like you have all the things you need to have. Well, you can set it up however you want, right? So anyway, he's got all his stuff on here, which is interesting. This is my older brother, the surgeon. Who screenshots the whole screen, doesn't crop it or anything, but it includes this little thing up in the corner. Las Vegas is in Vegas for a conference. Las Vegas, 105 degrees, excessive heat warning. Okay. And then he says, but it's a dry 105 degrees. And my father responds, you can have it. And my younger brother, Chris, responds, yeah, that's all BS. It was 103 in Arizona that one morning. Hot as hot, right? Okay. And then my father weighs in. Remember, Chris doesn't do heat. Jay and he keep the AC on at 65 degrees. That's not actually true. I keep it at 71, like civilized people. They like ice in the wind. Anyway, so I respond. I've lived in dry climates. I've lived in hot, dry climates and hot, humid climates, and I can attest that hot, dry is much better.
It is.
Cold, dry is also much better. Anyway, so this happens. So then. My brother then sends another picture, my older brother. Now it's 108. Sunny 108. And he says, it's actually getting hotter. LOL. So I'm waiting, and at this point I'm choosing my next move very carefully. And what I respond is, are you outside? Because, like...
Then shut up.
I mean, if you're outside, get inside. It's Vegas. No one belongs outside.
That's
get
inside.
That's Vegas is built for it. Right.
Yeah, and they're prepared for this. Yes.
And how are you even seeing your screen if you're outside? Because your phone was going to be overheating, right? And why are you even looking at your phone? It's hot. You need to know the temperature. It's hot. Anyway.
And as somebody who lived in Arizona for 2 years, I can tell you that both 103 and 108.
Yeah, it
ain't squat.
Right. I know. Well, I've been in the California desert
April.
when it's 115. Right? I mean, it gets to 108 in East Bay in Northern California.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very Mediterranean. Yeah. Anyway, so
120,
but it's lovely
man.
because it's like 15% humidity, which is great. So I said, "Are you outside?" And he says, nope, inside lecturing. It was 90 when we flew in at 11 p.m. and you could barely breathe, like baking in an oven. So I respond, so why do you keep checking the weather? Are you bored with your own lecture? And then he says, yep, Deb, his wife. Deb's on the podium now, LOL. So like I don't understand, like, when people, I feel like I'm not sure what he's trying to convey there. Like, should we feel sorry for him because he's in an air-conditioned building in Las Vegas, but it's hot outside?
I don't know, man.
I'm not sure. What do I do with that? It's like when people.
That's a whole group of people
that
are obsessed with like the weather, and if the weather is weird, then they are looking at it all the time. And not like my grandmother, like she's like checking the weather because she's worried that the sky is going to kill her at any moment with a tornado or a storm of some kind.
That's my dream.
But I mean, just people that are like, I don't know, weirdly obsessed with the weather where they are, the weather where you are, the weather if it's unusual in any way, especially if they're traveling, like, hey, we're here. And it's like, I admit that I was sort of, I don't know, dumbfounded really by the weather in San Francisco. But I feel pretty, I feel like that's not.
It's like a magic trick.
Right, exactly. That's not unusual to be weirded out by that because it is objectively bizarre. Mm-hmm. But anytime anyone like travels to somewhere and the weather is different than they are, you get those people that will text you and tell you all about this new and interesting weather they are now experiencing in Boston or in Norway or in wherever the heck they go. And it's like, okay, like what am I, like you said, what? Okay. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that?
I've been to Las Vegas. I've been to Las Vegas with him.
We all know the deal.
We know it's in the desert. We know that it's summer.
There's entire movies about the
48-year-old man.
Like Las Vegas.
Right. And it also makes me feel like he doesn't. Do you not understand the places where I've lived?
Yeah.
Like.
So who are you talking? Like.
Apparently I didn't send him enough pictures of weather apps.
I mean, you're not necessarily like sending a letter back to Paul on the farm and go, boy, Paul, you wouldn't believe it. It's nigh on 8 and 100 degrees out here.
At first, I thought we were going on this religious path, but with Paul. But then you went to the farm.
Not Paul, but Paul.
Paul on the farm. I got
Paul.
You. Paul. Paul.
Yeah, Paul. P-A-W. Paul.
Paul, not P-O-W.
No, that's Pal. And he's the guy who's in the Mario things.
I was thinking Rambo, but anyway.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
There's that. There's those guys.
Never forget.
All right. Okay.
Rambo 3. Good guys. Taliban. Rambo 3. Didn't age well.
I had to explain that to the kids. Well, you see.
Things change. People fall in and out of favor.
We call this dramatic irony. Like,
Here anyway.
United States, we got just a wonderful, by good, I mean like solid track record for doing these sorts of things. Like,
we do. I think we're and however many we've attempted so far.
Remember that guy we just arrested and threw into prison? Yeah, we were actually funding him and arming his people for a long time because he was our guy. And then when he did that thing we didn't like, we just went in and took him. General Noriega, no more. There's all sorts. I mean, Cuba. I mean, like, there's so many. I don't want to go down this path. I'm a patriotic guy, but I'm also patriotic enough to know that the U.S. is messed up sometimes, a lot of
just
times,
a tad.
And we like to point out the stinkiness of other people's stuff.
Yeah,
but not so much our own stuff.
Yeah, I
still would pick this country over any other country.
About specs when we got logs.
I would still
Not to
pick
get
this country
biblical
over
on
any other country because at least we do actually have the ability to change things.
And just gripe about it, and we don't get shot.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's true.
Not yet. I actually think one of the best things about this country, speaking of weather, is that we can live anywhere we want. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, what do you want? What level of we have such a good thing going that we in this country, assuming you can afford it financially, because not everybody can just pack up and move.
True.
Right.
Unfortunately,
most people can. Most people can figure out a way to do it. I mean, it depends on the lifestyle you want to have. If you have some means, it can be done.
And where you're
done,
moving
right?
to.
Yes, that's true. Right. Getting to Hawaii, not so easy if you have unlimited means.
No. U-Haul will not give you a truck for that.
No, but there's people who make a go at living in Hawaii who live, in a tiny little, they either share a place, share an apartment with somebody, or live in like a little studio thing, who just, they just want to be in Hawaii, and then they have a terrible job. But that doesn't matter because they're just like, when they're not working, they're in Hawaii. Anyway, like we live in this country where you can go. I mean, you want to live where it's 15% humidity, you can do that. You want to live somewhere where it's 95% humidity, like here, you can do that too.
Wide range of biomes that you can live in with their own special weather.
I feel like that guy. I don't know his name because you know how I am. The actor who narrates Amazing Planet, that new little film that they replaced the Lion King film with in the land.
Oh,
have you seen that?
I have, and I don't remember who's narrating it.
It's the guy from Modern Family, I think. I think he's in Modern Family. I think
like the dad.
Really. Yeah, I think so.
Boy, I used to know that guy's name. He's hilarious.
No one really knows that show, so it's fine. I'm sure no one's yelling at their radio right now. Anyway, it was annoying because he clearly doesn't pay attention to where I live, and I don't celebrate things. I mean, if I was to send him a picture every time the weather here got like unreasonably humid,
it would be like a flip book.
I'd have to have my own, right. I mean, it would be on its own thread, right? Like, come on. I don't know. And I don't know what to say in those situations other than like what I said. Like, are you outside? Why is this relevant?
Knock it off.
I don't understand. And then the thing is, like, if I was to like start doing that myself, just kind of out of like from a satirical point of view, they would be lost on them. They wouldn't get it.
That would be my inclination
lost.
Is to be like, oh my God, it's 91.
I know. Like right now, I feel like, let's see, what is it? It's okay. It's actually not bad right now. 78 degrees.
Well, it's still
humidity's
like,
bad.
wow, check out this out. It's 78.
Oh my gosh.
These are all numbers.
2/10 of rain. 2/10 of anyway. Weather's boring. Let's move on.
Well, if we are moving on, then I have to ask about your most recent pin.
Oh, the one that like got in right in the like under the wire.
Yeah, that's.
Speaking of under the wire,
of course, that one's going to be something that I want to bring up. The pin reads only 2 holes.
That's right.
So
it is a design flaw. Mm-hmm. It's a design flaw. So I have like the old I say old because I don't think you can get these anymore. The Google routers, like the on-hub, not the first generation on-hub, but like the second generation on-hub routers. But both generations suffered from this design flaw, which was that they only have 2 holes. So that you can, okay. So this is for those of you who don't understand. Like this is a router that you would buy to kind of separate your Wi-Fi network to because I don't like using whether it's Comcast or Xfinity or Verizon or whatever. I don't like using their their provided
Yeah, I don't use mine either.
cable modem router, whatever. You can't get away. A lot of times you can't get away from using the cable modem. Actually, I do at home, not here.
I use the modem. I don't use the.
Here I use the modem, but I don't think you can disable the Wi-Fi signal anymore. Anyway, but at home I actually don't even use the modem at all. Xfinity modem, like I
Get your own.
I got my own. Right, they love that.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you have a problem, like the first thing they say is like, "Well, I mean, you do have your own modem." I'm like, "Yeah, it's better than yours."
Right.
Like
if you would get a good one, I would use yours.
It was working 20 minutes ago. It will be working 2 days from now. The problem isn't the modem. The problem is your service.
Yeah, it's like as soon as they know that you've got a third-party modem, that is now the reason that your network is down. That's the reason that your throughput is crap. The reason
I can
for
tell
everything.
you that typically the reason, especially if you live in an older home, typically the reason is the wiring in your house. Mm-hmm. and if you switch around to other Ethernet ports, if you have other Ethernet ports, or not Ethernet ports actually, if you switch around to other cable jack ports, like in your house, sometimes you'll improve your service, improve your speed that way. Anyway, so I have the OnHub thing. It's the Google router thing, and I like it because it. You get a lot of good data with it. You like in terms of statistics and being able to see what devices are on the network. You know, the things that you have too with your stuff. Yeah. And the mesh network works really well in terms of broadening the Wi-Fi availability in the home and without having to switch to something. It's just sort of seamless handoff most of the time. And it updates, so you don't have to worry about the security updates or whatever. Like it just does it. It just does it. It's Google, and they're on top of that stuff. But hardware-wise, it's got 2 holes in the back. It's got an input for the Ethernet cable coming from the cable modem, and it's got one singular output
that you would hook a computer or something to.
Or something. One thing.
Yeah, most of them have 4. But
yeah, the cable modem has like 16. I don't want to use that. I just want to use. It's got one output. I will never understand that. Why one? Why one? Make it a little bigger. So what if it's not as? It drives me crazy. 2 holes. So the reason this is a problem here is that when we're doing this thing. I'm hardwired when I'm doing the lunch break from the studio. If I'm doing after hours, I'm hardwired.
As you should be, as everyone should be. The thing that I scream at the television more than anything is when you get on these news programs and they're talking to somebody and they're obviously on Wi-Fi and their signal is crap and because someone just started the microwave. Yeah, and then it's just like, good Lord, wire into the freaking thing. Anyway.
So there's that, but I can't have. Because I also have the Hue hub thing in here, which has to be hardwired in.
Yeah.
So for it to be on the network, it has to be plugged into the router. Well, I'm not putting it somewhere where it's going to get futzed with. I could plug it into another one of the routers somewhere else that I use for the mesh. I'm not doing that, Marcus.
Clearly.
Someone's going to go, yeah, because somebody will dust or what's this do or move it. No. These things are too important. So I can't get my fancy blue lighting unless the Hue thing is plugged in. So what happens invariably is that I will go from it's hardwired. Now I have to go unplug that, it's 2021. I have to walk around the backside of the desk, unplug. I'm looking at you. I have to unplug take the hardwire out. I have to then plug in. At least I have them color coordinated. I have to plug in the yellow wire. I unplug the black wire. Plug in the yellow wire. Yellow wire leads to the Hue thing. Then of course I have to wait for that to connect.
Right. Yeah.
And I watch the little blinky blink light. Blink. blink,
Blinking.
blink, right. 3 greens. Okay. Now I get into the app and I do the thing, set the lights. I have to go back over to the thing. I have to unplug the Hue device now. And I have to re-plug back in the hardwire thing. And don't even get me started on the fact that I can't have the Ethernet wire. Heaven forbid I can plug it directly into my MacBook. Can't do that because you need a special dongle for that.
Yeah.
Because you can't plug Ethernet because you don't have a hole for that anymore. And now you got to go right.
So have you thought about getting like a 4 or 8 port switch to?
No, Marcus.
Okay.
Then the man wins, Marcus.
Oh yeah, does the man win? We don't want the man to win.
No, I think what I need to do is look at some. I may need to look at some new options for. I'm sure there's better products out there now, and
There may be, but
I don't have that time. I still haven't. I've gotten my MRI results for 2 weeks. I still haven't scheduled any time with a physical therapist or a surgeon or whatever. Because
too much going on.
No, I don't like to talk to people.
Oh.
So I'll spend 2 hours trying to figure out how to schedule an appointment online.
Yeah.
Which isn't possible for these people. It is possible
why
for some
in
people.
God's name is something like that not? We get okay. The company. Have I talked about this? The company that monitors our security system. You have to write a check and mail it to them, like an animal.
Do you actually handwrite the check, or do you do the bank thing where it's like they send a check?
I haven't even tried to figure out if that's even. I'm sure my bank does that, but I mean,
I love that.
This would be the one time I would need it. So I mean, it's like not even a something that I've even looked into. Because
that's what I do.
Everything, absolutely everything else that I interact with has a web interface of some kind that I can pay the bill through.
Right, but they don't always work, which is annoying sometimes when they say put in this code and then you have to. It's like reading the Dead Sea Scrolls to find the code that they're talking about, their account numbers, and put in your account, your account, and you're like, I don't know, there's 700.
Right,
bunches of letters on here, and I don't know which one it is. Can you I don't know which number to use.
Which one is my account number? And then, what the hell are the other numbers?
They're all internal things, and there's this thing and that
and why
thing.
Are you telling me?
Medical billing is a nightmare.
It's like you're sending me the thing with all of the internal codes. It's like I don't need to know those codes. You need to know those codes. You're sending this to me because you don't want the thing. If you were going to keep the thing, you would have the thing, and you'd have all the internal codes that you want on your thing. But when you send me my thing, don't put those internal codes on my thing. I don't need those things.
This happened.
I don't know what those are.
This happened with the Quest bill recently. They send me this thing, and then it says pay online, blah 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 blah. And you go online, and you go to the link, and guess what happens? I get auto forwarded to this new place. There's some new system.
Not even them.
It's the third party. Well, that's nice. I mean, when you want it to end.
And we're back.
Was it something I said? What was it?
I didn't know I was on the live one. I thought I was on the recorded one.
Were we live? Because that would be awesome. I don't know.
Okay, it looks like we're still recording.
You mean the screen? You mean the screen thing? Yeah, we're still recording.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I hit the space bar and it went and it jumped. I was on the recorded one. I was where I was supposed to be because we're still recording.
Yeah, but you must have launched a scene.
I did. It jumped up to the live show and did the outro. And
that was exciting. Wow,
man, I thought it was something stay away from the space bar.
I'm out of time. We won't. Sorry, Matt Damon. We're out of time. Man. So, I don't know where I was. This is so exciting. That was so exciting. It was. I was trying to pay Quest. That's right. And so they take me over to this third party system. Anyway, and then I put in all the letters that it tells me to put in the right spots. And my last name, zip code, blood type, all the stuff. And then process. It takes me to this next screen, asks for a couple more things, and then it tells me the information you've submitted is incorrect. I'm like, well, I don't have another option, Marcus. I mean, yes, I do. I mean, I could mail a check, right? I could write a check and mail, or I could, I guess, call somebody, but it's Sunday, and because when I do pay the bills and stuff on Sundays, and because that's what my dad did, and that's what you do. But I don't. They're not going to answer the phone on a Sunday. Yeah. So, and I don't want to talk to anybody, and I'm certainly not going to give my credit card number to Johan over in Austria somewhere. It's not going to happen. So, I figured a way out. I figured a way to do it. So I logged into the Quest account as if I was like checking on the results or something. And there's a little option there to pay your bill. Oh. It's different. And I was able to do it the old fashioned way. So it was a little tricky trick. Okay. But I can tell you, now when I go to write a check.
Two different ways to do that is.
Well, yeah. I mean.
A little weird.
Yeah. No, is it though? I mean.
Yeah, but.
It's. So. I had to write a check for something recently, and I don't know if this is. I know you apparently write more checks than I do, but I don't.
Yeah, I do not.
I have to think about it now.
I think my current check is 3.
Well,
that's how many checks I've written.
This is sad. My current checkbook. Michelle and I were just talking about this yesterday. Like maybe we should change this. Our current checkbook. She was surprised at how fast. Something needed to check. I go to my bag, boop, boop, pull out the checkbook. She's like, you were able to put your hands on a checkbook that fast? That's what she said to me. I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I know where things are, especially if it's in my bag. Like I know where everything is. I can go in there blind and find stuff, right? So, but our checks. At some point when we lived in a previous place, she ordered I don't know. A case of checks.
Oh, jeez.
in like 2000, in like 2012, right? So this has the address on here for this place we lived in 2012.
Yeah.
I've lived in like 3 other places since then. We never updated our checkbook. No one never questions it. It's like, okay, I guess you still live in Maryland. It's the same bank. We've had the same bank for 21 years. But it's anyway. I go to write a check. I have to think about it. Like just writing cursive is difficult. And I'm afraid. I don't know why. It's not like the stakes are high. What's the worst that could happen? I just have to rip it up. But I
if you screw up.
I got to get this. Oh, I got to get this S right. Don't want it. Oh, wait. How do you do? Got it for. I mean, I don't know what I'd have to do. I had to write a capital Q.
That's that thing.
I'd probably just do a printed Q. I'll do that sometimes. A little printed Q. That's the cheat. Printed capital Q and then cursive.
So you write. You fill out your check in cursive.
I do.
That's interesting.
I don't know why. I feel like Thomas Jefferson when I'm doing it. It's like, I don't know. It feels like
like a feather pill.
That's what it is. It's like a lost art. I'd be like, okay, well, this is the proper way. If it's, and
in
and
the year of our Lord 2021 in Congress. Right.
Exactly. And so I do that thing, but I get nervous because I'm not. I don't know. I do it so infrequently that I have to think about it. It's weird. It's like signing anything. Like, how often do you sign your name?
I don't do it really for real. Like almost
birthday cards.
Yeah, I'll do
How
that.
do you
But I'll
sign-
just do my,
do you print
my
or do you-
first name.
Yeah,
I'll
but do you
sign.
print it or
I'll
do you-
sign it. I just sign my first name.
But you sign it
I'd
like
sign
you
it to where
sign
you
a
could.
paper. Or you can read it.
Yeah. Because I do want them to know who I am.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
otherwise
there's this
what
like
is this
sixth
person?
grade Marcus that's activated when you're doing that, right? Like sixth grade Marcus is coming back to life at that moment. Like, okay, you're thinking about it. Oh, loop my eye, loop this, okay. And it's
But
in a birthday card. Birthday cards that's even more stressful than a check because you get one shot.
Yeah, that's what I hate about the birthday card thing is, especially if you're trying to put any kind of note in there. Now you're worried about spacing. Am I going to get all of the words on? Like, at what point do I word wrap? It's and am I going to word wrap too early? Like, could I have fit?
Right.
It turns out that like found would have fit on that line up there, and now I've put it down here, and now that line looks weirdly short compared to the rest of them.
Right? Did he white something out there? Was there
Right,
something
or
there?
it's weird. It's just all the kerning is off now. it's just awful. It's terrible. And then you have to have, and then like where do you put it? Right, if there's enough space before the card message on the inside, do you put it there? Or do you put it over on the verso?
On the side,
as they say,
and then what do you put down in this? Then what do you put in the other spot?
Right, because that's too much space. And if you do put it over here and it's not enough to justify being put over there, then it looks really weird. Yeah, because now you've only filled up the top quarter. There's plenty of space on this side, and you could sign below.
You couldn't come up with anything else to say.
Junk.
That's all you had to say.
Right, that's the other thing. Right, is like have I expressed my affection for this person, and not even necessarily a significant other or anything, but like I don't know, an uncle or something. It's like
you get cards for your
that's
uncle.
Like worth. Well, no, that's my point. Is that if you're doing this for somebody, you're going to their birthday party, let's say, and so you'll want to get a card, and then it's like, well, how much do I say? How much is too little? How much is like weirdly too much? I mean. What do you do with this? The birthday cards are weird, and especially like non-birthday cards are even weirder because how personal do you want to get with like I don't know like a I don't know. It's one of the other occasions where you get a card. Like sometimes if you're doing an Easter
bereavement
thing or something. Yeah, bereavement.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Like, I didn't like that guy anyway. But
Easter, yeah, sure.
Sometimes maybe there's an Easter thing, or I'm trying to think of other occasions. We've really kind of gotten away from greeting cards as a thing.
Anniversaries, you get anniversary cards.
Yeah, but I mean, those are there's a single audience for that.
I can tell you what
Valentine's Day is the same way.
We don't do Valentine's Days. We
oh no, I think
we don't do Valentine's.
We don't do like big stuff. We just kind of
do nothing.
Throw candy at each other.
Nothing. But what I hate the group card.
The card that everybody signs.
Yes,
or does.
Because where do you want to be? Like where do you want to be do you want to be in the beginning of that process, the middle, the end? Like I feel like at the beginning, there's everyone's going to see what you wrote.
You're setting the mood.
Everyone, and you're not just setting the mood, but like. People are going to judge you, Marcus. They're going to judge you.
That's true too, because every single person will see what you wrote,
and they're going to do better. You're the first, so they're all going to do better than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
so in
and
order
then
to
also,
combat
where do you
that, you have to like shoot for the moon. But then,
then it's like,
what
oh
if
my
that's
goodness,
exactly the wrong thing to do, right?
and how much space am I allowed to take here? Because I don't want to be you don't want to be the John Hancock of the group, right? I got to leave some space for other people to sign and say something. But and how audacious am I in my placement? Do I put myself like I love you, Michelle. I love you. Don't get me wrong, but like you throw me under the bus all the time. Like when it comes to signing, like for my mother's card, she signed first, and so she signed like right under the spot. It's my mom. Like, you can't sign right under the spot. I signed right under the spot.
Yeah.
The dog had better placement than I did on this card signature. It's just terrible. Anyway, so I don't. It's a lot of pressure. But if you're at the end, then like not only do you sometimes have very little space to work with, right? It's like they're not even going to see my stuff, right? But and so then you're getting creative. Like, what color pen should I use to stick out?
Right. Yeah.
But
compensate.
And I can't make my little funny man, like little face sketch like I usually do. That's a problem. Get my little Charlie Brown thing.
I think I've seen this.
That's because I haven't given you a card, Marcus.
Yeah, clearly.
But
I mean, my birthday is like 3 days after yours.
I feel like we should have like a formal like passing the card. And isn't your family the one that does like the thing where you send it, you like give it back and you say that like you send your cards back?
Like my grandmother, particularly my grandmother, because she is like the family archivist, and I will get a card that I gave her in like 1984, and so she will have like crossed out grandma and put grandson and then signed under where I signed it in my like. But isn't that awkward when it's like happy birthday grandma and like but you're getting happy birthday grandma? It's not. It's actually kind of cool. Weird? It's like
okay. I mean, I think it's cool. Like it's awesome as a family thing. I can't imagine the first time it happened. It must have been bizarre though. You're like, really? What?
The first time it happened, she went out of her way to explain what was going on because I think that she didn't like want to be misconstrued or anything.
I'm not cheap.
Well, I thought it was a great idea. Senile. I thought it was awesome.
Like right. No,
but she was very conscious of how that might be perceived. I'll give you his thing back. Here, how about you take that back?
Here. Yeah, I think
a little tired of this cluttering up the house.
16 years later, but right. So if you're last on a group card, you have to be super creative because all the things have been said at this point. All the things.
Yeah, true.
And so what are you possibly going to say that's not going to look like everyone else's thing or some amalgam, right? Like, so I feel like with the group card, you really want to be in the center of the process.
Yeah, you're the median.
Yeah, which if you can get away with this, the secret, and I'm going to share it with you.
Okay.
Is to be the circulator.
Oh, you control where you are in the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the pro move right there.
Although, wait, no, I'm changing my mind on that one because.
Okay.
Because now that's a. Now I don't like that kind of anxiety anymore. No, I can't do that either because
a little too much.
Because now I'm more. Well, now you're going to get. I'm thinking about it. I'm getting like viscerally like anxious about like getting it back in time and making sure it's like not found because there's always that you have the Manila folder that has to get passed around in the office and we were trying to hide it from everybody, hide it from the person, so you want them to see it because they don't know their birthday's coming or whatever it is, and then you got to get it back from somebody. Like, okay, have you signed it yet? Have you signed it yet? Have you signed it yet?
Yeah, and who did you leave off? Who did you forget about when you were circulating the thing?
Well, so well organized circulators will have the directory of people, and then we'll cross the list. They'll cross the name off the list as they make their way down. There's a whole system to this, Marcus. This is like a lost art, really.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
We should keep it.
So you want to be
posterity.
I'll modify what it is. You want to be buddies with the circulator. You want to say to them, you know what, bring it to me when. Yeah, at this point. And if you don't have that kind of relationship, you can say like, no, I want to sign. I just can't do it now. I'll come find you.
Like you're literally eating a donut at your desk. Yeah, I know, but I got a thing.
I can't. I got to get jelly all over the thing. I can't.
Yeah, it's it's just bad time. Waiting on a call. Could come at any time. during the literally 45 seconds it would take for me to write that stuff down, you might get a call.
I'm just not feeling very creative right now.
My penmanship is crap. I
know.
I was sitting on my hand, and now it's all. Ugh.
It's asleep. My hand's asleep.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't even sign anything. Look at it. Pins and needles, people. Pins and needles.
Look at this. Look at this. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I can't sign anything with this claw. Oh, it's coming back. It's coming back. So, I don't know. Why are we? Oh, because the checks. You're telling me about the just check you're right into your plumber.
Yeah, or whoever it is. But yeah, the fact that like I haven't signed my name in any sort of official capacity. Well, I guess when we signed the thing buying the house, that was about it. And then of course I signed that pain, like 700 times. And I would love to see like a flip book of what my signature looked like the first time I signed it and the last time I signed it and all the times in between. I like to see it just slowly melting and degrading into whatever it was at the end when I was just like, oh, I don't care anymore. You know,
what a farce that whole situation is, right? Like they put this paper in front of you, this legal size paper with all these fine print, all these things, and you know that the responsible thing to do would be to say, I'm going to read this now.
Right, yeah.
Because you haven't really seen it
no
before
one
this
has
point.
Done.
But there are things in there that you're agreeing to, especially when they have you initial next to a line. That's a good indication that you should probably read that line if they're saying, I know you've signed all the other pages and you've just initialed the bottoms of all the other pages, but on this page we need your initial here and here and here, but it's all the same line still. Like, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, there's some history behind that.
And can we get a little bit of a blood print, thumbprint, one of those John Wick kind of blood thumbprint there?
Have you gotten anything notarized recently?
That was the last thing. Like part of that had to be notarized, okay. And
did they do a little thumbprint?
No.
I just had a notary do something, and she did a little thumbprint thing. It was like in her book, she had all these thumbprints, and like, but I've never had that. I've never done a thumbprint for a notary before.
That is the John Wick thing. That's crazy,
right? It made me think like,
the thing that I'm kind of disappointed with on the whole notary thing is it's a stamp now. That's not fun.
Oh,
it used to be the little crunchy embosser thing, and that was cool. Mm-hmm. Now it's just like squitch. You know,
I think it's state. I think it's state dependent, though. I think Florida is like just a stupid stamp, and I think other places have the cool embossing.
Apparently, Arizona is a stupid stamp too, because we signed all of our papers remotely because we couldn't be here in person for it. And one of the things, and they had and it's not even like the round thing. It's like just like a square. Right. It's just this normal looking thing. It's just like, this sucks.
And also, I'm wearing a mask. How did you possibly verify that I'm the actual person?
Thankfully, ours was before all of that happened. But yeah.
Like, I don't. Oh, you mean for the closing? Yeah. This is for this like stupid little piece of paper I had to get. It took me 3 months to get this thing notarized.
3 months.
3 months. ADP was
you could have become a notary in that amount of time.
I know. The thought did cross my mind. We started employing a person in a new state, a state where we hadn't done a payroll before. It was Delaware, and Delaware requires a notarized form, basically saying like, yes, as an authorized officer of the company, we are authorizing ADP to like receive the tax stuff, basically anyway. It's like a payroll power of attorney kind of thing, right? It's like a very limited function. So they needed that on file. Apparently, it's not even like Delaware needed to receive it. That was weird. Anyway, I
just in case somebody asked, they had to be able to.
It was weird, I guess. So they were hounding about getting it back. We were paying this other employee fine. It wasn't like it was preventing anything from happening. So I had no sense of urgency about it. And finally, my director of administration kept hounding me. She's like, "Can we get this done?" I was like, "I don't want to go to the UPS place because they're mean." There's these old ladies and they don't want business, and they're mean, Marcus. And it's like every time I go in there and I need something, it's like I'm like, they're like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, I just want to mail something.
Nothing for you here.
Why are you?
Go on, get out of here.
Oh, why did you package it like that? I'm like, can you have just one job to do? Why do you have to make me feel bad every time? So I can't go there because they're the people who also have to do the notary thing. And then they're going to like, I got to get the book. And I could go to a bank and do it, right? But then there's a whole process. You got to go in there and you got to talk to the guy who's standing there, who's just paid to greet people. How can we help you today? You could get out of my way. You could make this so I can do this from home or at the machine outside. That's what you could do for me.
Oh, but you don't have massive acid reflux. I just don't understand.
Instead, I'm going to tell you, I know that you're not going to be able to help me, but I'm going to tell you, sir, what it is that I need. And apparently I'm going to tell everybody in here. Gather around, everyone. Gather around. It's story time. It's financial story time with Jason, because I'm going to tell everyone in here what I need to do here today. How can you help me?
If you ask me for a check, so help me.
So I have to talk to that guy. And every time, like, I know what I have to do. But I can't dismiss him. I'm Jason. So I have to put, hi. Mm-hmm. Great to see you too. Oh, I'm just doing this thing. Oh, well, then you have to do. I know. But I can't say it like that. That's how I'm thinking it. I'm like, oh, thank you.
You get that where the guy asks, like, can I help you with something? And you're like, okay, since you asked, I need to do this. And then he's like, why did you, he doesn't say this, but it's like the air is that, well, I mean, you go over there, dummy. I mean, like, why would you ask me that? You just asked me to ask you that.
It's just right over. Oh, it's just right over there. Oh, that happened to me.
I know.
That happened to me at a state park in California. I got if he didn't have a gun, Marcus, I would have given him a piece of my mind. But he was armed, and not a friendly guy. So we're at the state park. I entered the state park in California, and this I don't know. I don't remember even what my question was. It was like, where can I park or something, or where do I go for this something, and it was like the park ranger. Well, like, my version of park rangers is like Yogi Bear. They're like nice and
yeah.
They're supposed to be nice people with funny hats and stuff.
You're supposed to be happy that you're there experiencing the park.
They're park rangers.
That's the point.
Like, it's like the least stressful job in the universe, right? So I go. I like rolled my window down, which is, we say that, but we don't really roll it. Right? And I say to the person, where do I? Let's say it was park. Where can I park? And you know what he says? He says to me, and he looks annoyed that I'm even talking to him at this point. He's like, puts his window down, and I said, where am I allowed to park, or where do I'm supposed to park? And he says, he says, it's over. Like, he points in there. He's like, over there, like the sign says. Over there, like the sign says. And at that point, Jason wanted to say, oh, I was supposed to believe the sign? I don't trust signs. I just thought some random person put the sign. I didn't see. Why would I be asking? They didn't see this. Clearly, I didn't see the sign.
Yeah.
I'm not Ace of Base. Why are you giving me a hard time? Like, just tell me the answer. Don't say. I'm probably not going to come back. Like, yeah. So it's not like I need to learn for next time.
1 star.
In fact, you just telling me I learn for next time. So that's why I avoid the bank, Marcus, because they also have armed people. That's the other thing. I always feel like a criminal when I go to the bank. Do you feel that way? Like,
I don't feel like so much
there's
that
so many
way.
people watching.
Or then
there's so many people watching that, like, I'm like, okay, don't anybody move funny here. They're watching us, and they have weapons.
I tell you, the time I feel most like a criminal is when I leave a shop having not bought anything in that shop.
Oh yes, yes. Hands.
That's when
I got my
like,
hands.
I didn't take nothing.
or when you go to get your phone out of your pocket.
Yeah,
and you're sure that they're going to believe they're going to think that you stuck.
In.
Oh, he put something in his pocket. That 48-year-old man.
Yeah, he's clearly stealing.
He's
candles.
Definitely stealing greeting cards
that he doesn't know how to fill out.
This just happened to me in Mount Dora. Like I was in my little store. Bought some stuff for Michelle's birthday, and it was a candle store. Funny you should say candles. There were candles in there, and all these like local made things. And at one point, because it's like one person manning the entire store, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm just going to keep my hands where they can be seen. Funny business. No one gets hurt. Like, when I had to get my phone out for a second, I was like, everybody see no hand? And I go in my pocket.
Which nothing inspires confidence like that.
Turn my pocket. I want to like turn my pockets inside out. Like, here, look. Nothing in there.
Walking around going,
I feel like I'm in magician mode. I'm in magician mode. Look, I'm rolling my sleeves up. There are no trap doors.
Nothing suspicious about me.
I know. Why? Why am I like
Which now, of course, it is.
The bank. When I'm and that's the thing. Like I go up to, you go to especially if you're making a deposit, like of cash. Like if you're a business owner or something, you're making, and you go there and you're like, here's my wad of cash, and they look at you like, where'd you get all that money?
Mm-hmm. Do we need a drug test?
Can you just count it, please? Or when the counts, like the machine's like giving the same number, and you're like, oh God. And it's like I feel it's just very stressful. I don't like going. I don't like doing these things anyway. So I'm not going to get.
Go ahead.
Well, I found somebody who would come to me, right? Like the people, the notaries that will come to you. But I didn't want them to come to my house. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want them in my house, Marcus.
Yeah, I don't want anybody.
So I met them. So I met them at. Sorry about that. So I met them at the coffee shop. And then I realized like this seems really sketchy, right? Like we're gonna like I'm buying something off of Craigslist or something. Like we're gonna meet at the coffee shop in a neutral territory. And then it then also occurred to me that we don't know what each other we don't know what we look like. We don't know. So what do? You can't walk into the coffee shop and say, "Hi, I'm here to notarize something." Like they're gonna say,
"Yeah." Okay. Like how do you? Like
so I have to wait and I have to watch. I have to watch for the person who looks like. Well, that's what you start to do, right? And again, I can tell you, it feels a little like racial profiling, and I don't like it. It doesn't feel good.
Notary.
You start to judge people. You're like, is that a notary? Is that a notary? That can't be a notary?
That's
that's the notary.
Like,
I don't know. Like,
what weird stereotypes exist about notaries?
They look like nothing. They're none.
Yeah, I know.
Except they usually have a bag or a briefcase or a something with a handle. And she could look kind of lost. Like.
Yeah, like
she was supposed to be there, but she wasn't sure why.
She's not sure she wants to continue with this
notary
thing going on.
Yeah. The worst part about all of this, and just
a little hand gesture you can make, it's like.
Right. In full disclosure, the story gets worse, and I have to just in interest of transparency and truthfulness. I made Zach do a lot of this stuff because I don't like to talk to people, Marcus. And so when this moment, and he happened to be there with me because we were meeting about stuff. And so when the time came and I said, well, do we know what she looks like? And he said, no. So when she goes in, when this suspected person goes into the coffee shop, and we both like, oh, I think it's her. I think it's her. Yeah, I think that's her. That's definitely her. Neither one of us are budging because we don't want to be the person that goes up to a stranger and says, are you the notary? Are you Colonel Mustard?
So you kind of have to do the I'm picking you up in a limo thing and have the little sign that has the person's name on it and just kind of put it on the table.
So I said, you set this up. You go see if that's...
This is your fault. I wouldn't be here but for you. Go.
So the worst... Okay, so the best part of all of this, when it's all done, right? I'm all happy. Got this thing done. I'm all proud of myself, right? I do a little Genius scan thing. I'm going to send it off to the people who care. And actually, I didn't do that first because I didn't know if they needed a hard copy or not, right? So the next day, I was going to find out they needed a hard copy to mail off. So I assumed they did because notarized. Turns out they didn't. Weird. But also turns out the employee that we had that next day or that same day gave their notice. Yeah.
You know what, buddy? No, you're fired.
So I waited long enough. I'm like, what's her face from the Facebook chat? Like, I waited long enough. I was one day shy of the problem just taking care of itself, Marcus. One day shy. After all that.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And the notary gave me her card. Like, oh yeah, because of all the notary business I have to do.
Dude, I am constantly notarizing stuff.
I just like,
can you notarize this shirt?
Oh, yeah. So that happened. Anyway, I think. Oh, okay. There's one more thing. Do you have anything you would talk about? I feel like as normal, I've monopolized. Some of these things have a lot. They require much longer. Some of them do not. But this one, the quick reverse, we got to talk about.
Oh yeah. Quick reverse.
The quick reverse. The quick reverse, and this is more of a public service announcement than anything. Okay. We all have those moments where we're sitting in a parking spot or driveway where we are, we're leaving, but we're not ready to leave just yet. We're doing something. We're maybe connecting our phone, maybe sending off a final text message. Maybe we're looking at our map and getting our directions set up. Maybe we're putting on lip gloss if you're Marcus. Maybe we are doing something, we're getting ready for the traveling, right? We're not immediately pulling it. Okay.
Right.
So two rules I feel like everyone should agree to abide by. Number one, do not sit there with your car in reverse.
Totally. Completely agree with that one.
Do not do that because pedestrians who may be walking around their neighborhood will stand there and wait for you to pull back for a long time.
And as soon as you give up, that's when they go.
Right. I speak from experience. Number two, and this was my almost bad. But I've almost been run over in this situation too. Person's parked, cars on. They're not going anywhere. Not even with a brake light on. Their foot's not even on the brake, right? But the car's running. They're in the car. And then immediately they go into reverse. They just decided and boom, go into reverse. I realized that you may have checked out the situation 10 minutes ago.
Right, but that has a shelf life.
Right. And this happened. I almost got run over in my neighborhood, like for real, legit, almost run over a couple of months ago when this happened, where a car had been sitting in its driveway, and it was, that could tell they were in the car. The car was running. This happened a couple of times actually, and I'm walking, and I'm like not sure what to do. Right? I'm like, do I wait? I'm not sure, and then. But I know that it's a new car, so they have backup cameras and stuff, so they should be able to. Anyway, so just as I'm like waiting, I wait. I don't even really wait. I kept going, but I slowed down, and then I thought, okay, I'm just going to go. And just as I got there, they throw the baby in reverse and start coming. And then there's that moment where you're thinking they're not really going to keep coming because obviously they can see me at this point. They may get irritated that I was behind them. No, they're coming.
Jeez.
Like, Jason, you got to move. Like, I had to start, I had to book it to get out of the way. Or the person in the minivan who's talking, they're like, literally, there's someone at the window, standing there at the driver's side window, talking to the person behind the wheel, like having a conversation as I'm walking up. And as soon as I'm behind, that's the moment the conversation stops. They throw it in reverse and start coming. Like, How is it possible that anyone finished, unless they were, I thought in the story I told myself was like, they must have been angry. They must have been in a fight. The person was like leaving real fast. That's the only explanation that's reasonable.
Not even that reasonable.
But a week or 2 weeks ago, whenever I sent you this pin, I had been sitting in the driveway, in my own driveway, and getting ready to go somewhere, and car was running, and I had put it in reverse to leave, but then I needed to do something else, so then I put it back in park. Did the thing. Went to put in reverse again, right? And I actually thought about I was just going to start going back, and I stopped myself. I was like, wait, I didn't look at the screen. You gotta look at the screen or look over your shoulder, but the screen's better. And as I come out of my driveway, and I start to pull away, and I kid you not, around the corner, I'm on the end spot on our block, and around the corner comes this little girl on a tricycle. And I thought to myself, if just a few seconds later, and I hadn't paused, and I would have smushed her, squished her. Not good. It would have been like Bentley's worst day.
And what a stereotypical thing for you to have almost hit, but a little girl on a tricycle. That's like this in literally movies was a little girl on a tricycle.
I know.
That's what's going to pull out in front of a thing or whatever.
Probably with the little. She didn't have the little streamers come off the handles, but yeah,
Was there a crash zoom on her face and she went?
and it's just so. Here's the thing: if you have those cameras, which almost everybody should have if they have a newer car because they're mandatory now. Use them.
Yeah.
Use them, right? And if you don't have those cameras, be really careful. Look turn behind you. Be double check because kids are shorter than they used to be, and you can't see them. Bad things happen. And I didn't mean to end it on a kind of a down note, but I felt like that I needed to have that little PSA out there. Because it's a dangerous world, and you never know when Bentley's going to be loose.
That's right. And knowing is half the battle.
Now, if Russ is behind your car,
open her up.
I feel like everybody would understand.
Stinking Russ.
No, officer, I didn't see him. I guess he really should be chained up somewhere.